you guys like my montage. I got a little bit of a later start today. I really didn't start filming and doing stuff on the car until almost like 4:30 p.m. So now it is currently 11 because making the brackets and making it look nice and just doing it the right way took a lot longer than it could have been if I just quickly threw it together. But as you guys saw in the video, I'd used some nice crinkle black. The brackets look nice. I also cleaned up the stuff in this area and this area with some back to black. And I did end up having to trim the bash bar a little bit right here. Otherwise, I would have had the two coolers like pressed up against the bash bar and it would have been kind of sketchy, God forbid. You know, I hit something with the bash bar, then I got to worry about my coolers getting damaged too. So that was the easy part. The hard part's gonna be making lines because I've never made lines before, but I've seen Alberto do it enough where I feel like I shouldn't have a problem. The Mishimoto oil cooler kit did come with pre-made lines, but I think because of the fact that I'm doing it a little bit differently, I'm going to want to make my own custom lines. So I got some Vibrant -10 hose and some fittings. Why I chose these fittings? Because they're gold. Before I start, what? Maybe I should start doing the, I guess I'll put the oil cooler on first. So the first thing I'll do is I'll drain the oil and then I can mount the little sandwich plate. Really, really simple. This just basically goes where your normal oil filter would go. And then you have two ports where you can have your lines running. What's gonna be really nice about this is the fact that the oil filter is located so easy to access up in the front of the engine. So everything we'll be doing, there's plenty of space, and then the lines that we'll be running are just like from there to here. So it's really short. There's like a little thing that threads on where the existing oil filter goes that holds the sandwich plate on, and then you thread the new oil filter onto that. And like a stupid Adam, I brought it to the auto parts store just to make sure that I got the correct oil filter. I wasn't sure if it was a stock 350Z filter or not, and I lost it. Maybe I left it at the store, so I can't do that. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of like, I guess I'll leave it resting on there maybe, just so I can measure the length and I can start doing the lines until I find that piece. So I have the sandwich plate just kind of like chilling there for the time being, so I can start to figure out how I want to run the lines and what length they'll need to be. I found it. It was right on. If I ever lose anything, guys, comment below. It's always on here. I put everything down here, my phone, my wallet, my camera, stuff like this, and I always lose it. So this thing will thread on to the existing one, and then you'll have this for the new one. All right, so the part of this video that I've been dreading because I always hear people complain about it is making the AN lines, the -10 oil lines and power steering lines, just because I want to do like some custom length ones with some nice fittings. Of course, gotta keep it gold, right? So I will say, I already made 3 fittings and it was actually a lot easier than I thought. So being someone that's never made an AN line in their history of life, I am going to show you what I just learned and how I was able to do it. So right now, just for reference, I have like I think it's a -10 to -8 adapter, so I could get a -8 to barb to go to the stock power steering line. There's probably a better way to do it, whatever, that's how I'm doing it. But anyway, then I have a fitting going to the line. I'm gonna have all the lines run through here. I'll go over a little bit more of like stuff regarding the lines after. Right now I'm just taking the measurement and then I'll show you guys how I'm going to make the -1090 fitting that will go right onto the power steering cooler here. It might just be me, but making lines I feel like is really, really intimidating just because there's a lot of ways kind of to go wrong. But after doing it, I'm feeling very confident. So I definitely recommend you guys, if it's something that you've never tried before, it's kind of fun and it's a good thing to know how to do. So I read an article, that was what I first did. I just like Googled how to make an AN line, and it said to basically put the line in a vise and use a fine tooth saw, like by hand, very lightly to saw the line. And I tried that and it came out very messy like this. And as you'll soon see, it's important to have a clean edge. Otherwise we're gonna have a very bad time. So I remembered when Alberto would do it, he wouldn't actually use the saw, he would use a grinder. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, or if I'm gonna have some people telling me that's the wrong way to do it and my car's gonna get destroyed because of it. But I did that and it worked really well. Having this tape here will help prevent the edges from getting frayed and give us a nice clean line to cut. So then, if we did a decent job, we should be able to peel the tape off and have a somewhat clean edge. This is actually pretty nice. One thing that I know is important that I don't remember if Alberto used to do this, but I just know when you're grinding stuff, there's probably more likelihood that you're gonna get crap in the line. So then we're just gonna take a quick little, and it just shoots out some of that stuff that got grinded in there. Because we don't want that in our oil or power steering fluid. So this is a fitting, right? This is a fitting. It's a fitting. This is a -10 fitting, a -1090. The way that these work, basically the hose goes in this thing, right? So the hose goes in this thing, it's a fitting, all right? And then it'll be easier just to show you. But anyway, then what happens is like This piece goes inside the hose, it gets pulled in, and then the hose is like sandwiched inside of this. So the first thing you need to do is get the hose into this. Conveniently, I ordered one of these little vice jaw things for fittings. I guess it's pretty important, otherwise your fittings will get all like mashed up and look like crap. So, yep. This is a part where Alberto would always complain because the vise isn't mounted down to anything, and it's a really big pain when it comes to doing this stuff. But it's okay, we like a challenge. So we'll put the fitting in here, we'll tighten it down. And then this, I think, is the most difficult part, pushing this into here. I've had the best luck by just kind of, just getting like kind of one corner in, and then like kind of tucking each corner in and working it around in a circle. I don't know, sometimes it's a little bit easier than others. And then you gotta like really lay into it, which doesn't help if your vise isn't mounted to anything. And like I'll kind of twist it as I'm pushing it in. You'll usually know right away if this is working or not. The cleaner that cut, the easier it is. This is where big boost arms come in handy. I got them little T25 arms. Alberto's on some like 3582 stuff. Okay, so feels like, look at that. All right, so I noticed there's still black stuff in the line. I think Alberto would actually wash it out with brake cleaner, so we're gonna do that. Just kind of like spray a little bit of brake cleaner in there. So it's kind of hard to see, but you can see the hose is actually all pressed up in there. And what I've been doing, I don't know if this is the right way to do it. I'll take the vice jaws, put it around, put it in the vise like this. Oh, I forgot another important step is like putting a little piece of tape on the line here so you can see if the line gets pushed back when you put the fitting on. That's pretty important, I guess. Now this little thing that goes inside, I read that it's a good idea to put a little bit of oil on it. So I got like a little cap full of oil, and I'll like dip my finger in it and then just lube up the threads and the actual part that pushes into the hose. This part, a little bit tricky. Just kind of push it in and hope it doesn't not catch the threads. Every time I've gotten lucky and it's caught the threads. I think the oil also helps from like not cooperating. But then I'll just take a wrench. I bought the proper like AN wrenches or whatever they're called, but this one's like bigger, so I don't know. It's like a -11 or something, or maybe you're supposed to use an adjustable for this part, I don't know. But it said to basically thread it in until there's a millimeter of space left, and conveniently I realized that I have a screwdriver that is exactly a millimeter thick, so I've just been using that kind of as like a feeler gauge. And when I can just barely get the tip in, then I know it's perfect. And this simple task that I have been procrastinating to do all day. It's now 2 AM by the way, and I'm just making my third line. I didn't say it in a long time on the other stuff, I promise. I've just been procrastinating because I thought this was way worse than it actually is. You hear that? So if you're dreading doing lines, just send it. All right, yeah, so we have a line, obviously because like we made these ourselves and we're not like trusting someone else in a factory to make them. We should probably check over all of them once the car's running to make sure there's no like oil leaking out of fittings or anything, because we all know that Adam sucks. Yeah, all right, so done, cool. Now I just have to wait one more and then I'll show you guys the rest. It is 3:36 AM. I've got all the lines all set, all tightened down. All I have to do is fill the car up with some fluid. And what I also want to do, Alberto always likes to kind of tape wherever the lines rub up against anything that could potentially be sharp. So he'll just wrap a little bit of electrical tape around them, kind of to act as a cushion. But this is the final picture of what it looks like. Look at that, nice and clean, very happy. One thing to make note of, when you add an oil cooler to the system, you're gonna have to add more oil. It took about a quart extra, so now it takes about 6 quarts of oil. I have the car up in the air running. I'm just kind of checking over all the lines and everything to make sure there's no leaks, because we don't want to rod knock this brand new 350Z before we get to drive it. Everything's looking pretty good. So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of manage this little situation in here and kind of make sure everything's all tidied up and neat, and so we're not gonna get caught on the wheel for any rubbing issues. And then we should be ready to go take her for a drive. What's up guys, today's the day we've all been waiting for. We're cutting up our cars. Joining me is Matt the Ginge, aka King of OSW. Matt, what's going on?
Cutting cars like cheese, just slicing away.
So we're gonna use Matt's car as a guinea pig because we don't know how to cut cars. There's no DIYs. Carbon Crown Crafting, just what'd they say? Just cut where the wheel rubs?
Just cut where the wheel rubs. And I was like,
all right, so where do you rub?
everywhere.
This part on with the Wise Fab, do you rub in here on this like little fender bracket? That's where mine rubs the most.
No, I don't think, because I run like crazy ride height, like.
Oh, true.
So I didn't hit anything, so that's why I'm monster trucking everywhere.
Oh, are you gonna go low?
I'll go lower once I do that.
Sick. All right, time to start cutting. So I think what we should do, I've never done wide body stuff before. I FaceTimed TJ Hunt, and he basically said just dab on the haters, and that's how to do a wide body. So I don't know, I feel like it'd be smart to kind of mock up the fender, and then we can use some masking tape and kind of draw a line of where we want to cut.
That sounds good to me.
Or we could just cut.
No, I said we
The man himself, Z-Jack. Are you sleeping?
You got me napping over here.
All right, we need help, man. We can't figure out what to do, like in this weird area down in there. Like, how do you cut that part?
So what I did was I cut it. Oh god. Wait, what?
I painted my car blue.
What?
Yeah, it looks sick, doesn't it?
That looks really sick. Wait, hold the camera out more.
I'm just kidding. It's my friend Matt's car. My car's over here. All right. Z-Jack was a big help. My phone died. Sorry if you thought I was rude. My phone died, I promise. All right, so it seems very simple now. Shall we start cutting?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Matt. It's kind of like a wedding where I get to cut. This is my garage. The first cut, right here.
How about this? You cut my car, I cut your car.
All right, we'll cut our own cars. Cue the, oh my god, you're ruining 350Zs. They're gonna be worth a ton of money in like 10 years, dude. What are you doing ruining that car?
It's already ruined.
Moment of truth.
Like
Oh, I guess that is thicker metal than I thought. That's probably what was eating the blades.
Yeah.
Oh, you need to cut this through more.
Yeah, I know. I like had to cut it at an angle.
Dude, the way you cut it kind of looks cool. Like, I'd almost just leave it like that. Alright, so you guys are gonna have to rate down in the comment section. Here we have my job. Alright, look at that, okay. We're a little sloppy down here, but I'm gonna go in there with a little grinder and touch it up. And then we have Mr. Perfect over here.
Look at that.
It looks so good. I feel like I almost would have been better off just doing a nice clean straight line instead of trying to radius it and make it look like poo-poo. Yeah, we ran out of blades, so this is gonna have to resume at a later date, but it's okay because it's the same video. He's gonna rock the fender cut. I'm gonna rock. Man, his fender cut's so much cooler than mine. Lame. Just to make sure we don't make a fool out of ourselves doing our very first wide body job, because like TJ Hunt does them a lot and we don't want to look like we don't know as much as TJ Hunt because that would suck. We've been practicing. Yeah. Matt showed me the most magical tool in the world. Can you show me real quick? This thing right here. I feel like having a rivet tool is like a must. I don't know. I just feel like it's
this is specialer, more special than a rivet tool, because what this does is they're called riv nuts. So they're rivets, but they're threaded, so you can bolt stuff into the rivets themselves.
So rather than permanently having the fenders fixed, we can just kind of screw them right on and then pull them off, go get them painted. Matt, what's going on with your fenders?
Well, they're painted by a very skilled painter named me, and they didn't turn out too well. So
on camera, actually, it looks like it's a pretty close match. But
I did like, they were way too light of coats because I did it like how you like spray paint, and then I was watching like videos after, and people just cake it on. I was like, yeah, I probably should have done that.
So we've been practicing, and we'll walk you through riveting on one of the Carbon Crown Crafting. Say that with a mouthful. Fender on my car. It's a very minimalistic approach because I hate rivets. I think they look ugly, and that's why I'm dreading wide bodying my S13. And molding fenders on drift cars doesn't work because the chassis flexes so much that it ends up cracking. Trust me, I would love to do molded fenders on my S13, but not smart. So I have no idea what size drill bits these are. Matt the Ginge gave them to me, and I'm taking his word for it, and essentially just being very, very limited with the amount of rivets that I do. Let's drill into like a hood hinge or something. I don't know what I drilled into, but I feel like I wasn't supposed to. Big bit. Whoops. God darn it. Do you think it'll still work?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Look at that hole, man.
That's the beauty of a hole.
Do you see why we practice off camera first? Ow! Dude, I cut myself literally every single video. What the heck, man? This is not fun. That's a lot of blood. God damn it. Hopefully it lines up well. Look at that, not too bad. I'm gonna use this one as a placeholder. Just kind of like hold it in place and then start drilling more. I did the other side alone, but I think I'm gonna use Matt's help on this side because it'll probably make it go by faster if I have him kind of pushing it down so I can drill all the holes at once rather than doing one hole, fasten it, one hole, pull it off, put it back on. Try to be efficient. Just like that. Project 350Z complete. The only thing I can think of left is to get those fenders painted, get a tune, and is there anything else? Oh, we gotta with door marks.
Door marks, for sure.
Door marks. Look at how cool they look together. I'm so excited to have the same car and drive with you, Matt, together with the same car, Matt. Wow.
So you have an HR, and I have a poor little DE.
I'm sorry. They look so cool. Overall fitment on the fenders for never doing this before. Definitely happy with how it came out. Had a couple issues with like these rivets down here were just not really threading in properly. And then this side, the side where this car got in an accident, I have a little bit of a gap here. Well, that's the fender moving up and down, but there's a gap in here. You can't really see it, just take my word for it. Can probably like kind of round this out and sort with that later, but for now, she's dope. Pull them off. Probably drive the first event without painted fenders just until that's taken care of. Should be fun. Stoked.
When you say